Hello, friends. Hope you are doing well, as usual. And I hope you are in the mood, the season of sharing and giving. You only give what you have. If you don't have some time to give, it can be difficult. Yes, we have of late been focusing on the issue of realism, which we said is the alternative or the opposite of illusion. And I recall we were using Plato's cave, which is the allegory of the cave, and how Plato used it to illustrate things. In line with the principles, therefore, or concept of realism, I think we can see the great work of Jesus Christ. We'll be talking about some of them as we go on. Parable of this, parable of that. You remember them? Oh yes. He's just trying to let people understand things in real sense, how illusion do turn people to be doing things that are not supposed to be exactly what it is. On our subject today, as usual, we want to look at a word that seems to be eluding us, has been eluding us, and we use it every day. Every day. And the word is democracy. Democracy. I know you know what is democracy. Everybody believes they know what is democracy. Like any other things, we are meant to believe that a democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. In fact, we don't even need to think to say this. Is that not true? So that's what you've been told all along. Now let's look at it this way. Democracy as the government of the people. Now let us change the word government and replace it with justice. Because the word government and justice, they go together. Who is responsible for justice? All justice is the government that is in charge of the authority of a nation. Yes. And therefore, let us use the word, let's replace the word government with justice, because justice, government, they are the same. And we can either have government in an autocratic form or democratic form. So when we say democracy, we mean the government of the people, the justice of the people, by the people, for the people. Makes sense, isn't it? So the justice of the people, by the people, or for the people. So instead of some few people autocratically sitting in one little space and making decision on what will happen in terms of justice, our life, to everyone, we say we want more people by our majority to be involved and decide where we go to. Now, if the word government is also justice, and justice we all know is not cheap. Justice is very, very, very expensive. Very expensive. Then somebody have to pay for justice. And who pays for justice? I, you, we pay for justice. That is why we have what we call tax. We pay for the justice we want, and we pay to government so that we get the justice we, the people, want. In other words, the citizens, the nationals, the voters. If that is the case, we are paying for our justice. It helps us to employ police, build road, build social houses, create jobs, farm, and everything. Everything. But how are we going to do this? We cannot have justice. How do we have justice without law? So, democracy then becomes the justice of the people in relation to the law of the people, by the people's law, for the people's law. So when you see people in an environment struggling, the law of the people is actually not working. Why? Because the law is responsible for the justice, and the justice, right, is the job of government. When I slap you, then justice comes in. I've slapped you. What did the law say about me slapping you? What did the law say about that? Then that moves us to another level. How can we have laws without politicians? Politicians are responsible for laws. Therefore, the politicians of the people, by the people, for the people. So you can see that all along we've not been able to make these connections properly. That is why we have been suffering. So when you go to any environment and you find people suffering, the law is not working. Because law directs us to where we go to, how we do things, where we do things. Well, my opinion and my view is different from your opinion and your view. And everyone have their opinion and their views on how we should do things and how justice should be. Yes, everyone have their own version of the law. But when we come together in an organized environment and we make these laws, then it's binding on everyone. And in democracy, one interesting thing is that the head of state, or we call it the head of government, is the chief justice. Actually, it's not the man you see in the court. That is why the head of state have to up the judiciary. That is the chief justice in name. But actually, it's all come back to the head of states, the head of government, and the head of states. And technically, what that is saying is that the judge in the court, his job is like a chef, the one to deliver, to serve the food. Now, who cooked the food? The cooking of the food is in the law. The law cooks the food. So who make the law? A democracy, the representative of the people in the name of parliament are supposed to be the lawmakers. So when you separate the two, because when you say, okay, we've made the food is ready, and you ask the cook to tell you whether the food is sweet or not delicious, the cook will tell you what he wants you to know. Then we say, no, let us separate the cook and the servant who is coming to serve the food, put it on the table, who is the judge. And remember, the judge in this case cannot be the law. Yes, the judge cannot be the law, because the day the judge becomes the law, he makes his own law. The judge doesn't make the law. The job of the judge is to what? Interpret the law. But the maker of the law is the parliament. So you separate the position of the president from the position of those in the parliamentarians. And in a democracy, in any democratic environment, constituencies are created for people to choose who they want to lead them in the gallery of lawmaking. That makes sense. This is why sometimes we ask ourselves, why must we suffer, sleep on the street, suffer from birth to death, if we are democratic? If we are democratic, we are not so. Life can be easier than how it is. Of course, we can't live in an utopian world, an illusion, but there is the benchmark where we have to be able to meet. I hope you've come a long way with me. And as time goes on, I'll be taking certain details and we'll be looking at them together. I want to say, for being this long with me, thank you very much. And for more of this, remember,